Turning to our panelists from a recipient region, Lebanon, I'd like to put the following question to Ms. Vera El-Khoury, who is advisor to the Lebanese Ministry of Culture, and inquire which of the Secretary General's recommendations are particularly relevant for your country and your region.
Thank you very much, and I'm very grateful for have been invited to this panel. It's an opportunity for me to talk again about these recommendations. I was a member of the panel of the independent team of advisors who was asked when met the first time with ECOSOC to come with bold recommendations. And when we came back a year later with bold recommendations, we were told you were too bold. And most of them were like criticized very drastically during a meeting. So we all left very depressed, actually, because we felt that we have worked for a whole year for nothing. And then a miracle happened. We have a new Secretary General and a new DSG, and I read this report and I went, wow, they're all in there. So the recommendations are all back, including the very bold ones. Some we had to really fight for because there was resistance. I mean, there is resistance for change, both on the side of member states, on the side of the Secretariat. And I think that one that is going to be absolutely crucial is an evaluation of all the system, all the entities, an independent evaluation, because we have for 70 years added layers and layers, and I've been in the system 20 years. I cannot understand what all these entities, all these commissions, all these organs are all about, what they all do, and whether we really still need all of them. So I think one major thing we need is clarity on what is the system and how is the system going to work together. So this clarity is going to be important for my country, my region. My country needs humanitarian with all the refugees, development because it's a country struggling, and peacekeeping. So we have all the aspects of the UN needed in the country. So the field network is the field reform, the number of offices, but the whole story is worse than that, because I know of an office that costs 1.6 million in staff and administration per year and has a budget to implement programs of $3,000. So this is a big issue, this issue of the field, and working together, the team, the country teams, is going to be crucial for my country, making sure that everybody works together. How do you create UN loyalty instead of each one fighting for his own logo, his entity loyalty? This is something, the how you do this is complicated. And then something that also we discussed a lot is the specialized agencies. How do you link these specialized agencies to the system? What is the way to make them feel they're part of the system? Because sometimes we hear one position from the same member state in a specialized agency, we move to somewhere else and we listen to the same member state saying something completely different. So these are big challenges, and the link between humanitarian and development is, of course, a big issue for my country. You cannot do humanitarian without development and wait for a protracted crisis to end to start with development. Of course, this will not work. And we have to make sure, on the other hand, that the humanitarian doesn't suck all the money from development, because this also is a problem. So this is a balance that is in implementation, something delicate and something we really have to be very careful about. And of course, for us, what is really important is transparency. accountability, efficiency. These three words are the words, you cannot read any UN document in any entity of the UN system without reading these words everywhere. But there are still many instances where you see that they don't exist. And this is, for me, the biggest challenge, because without this, there will be no trust. And without trust, we will not really succeed. And you can't say, I'm here, I'm going to do this, I want trust. It's an era of show me, don't tell me. So we're going to need to show and gain the trust for all this to work. And I would like to say a few things about what I feel is missing in the report. Ethics, can't find it anywhere. And for me, this is a big issue, because there are lots of good people out there, and sometimes suffering from reputation, risk of bad reputation because of a few. And the lack of accountability is something that is affecting the whole system. So I would like to see more about how we're going to deal with ethics in the next report. How are we going to deal with corruption? How are we going to make sure that our ethics unit are going to be independent and with a full budget to do their work? How are we going to make sure that iOS is independent and has a consistent budget to do investigation? I think these are things I would like to see more in the next report, and how the fourth technological revolution impacts our work, our deliverables, and our ways of working. It's a new mindset. We should speak more to the young people. They think in a completely different way, and we have to stop being a dinosaur. We have to listen to them. I will conclude. My last word is that reform should not be the business of rich countries, of developed countries. It should be our priority, the developing countries, because we are the ones who need the UN more than anyone else. We also pay assessed contributions. It is also our taxpayers' money, even if it's not a lot. We have to make sure it's well spent. We have to make sure our people are served. We have to make sure there is accountability, there is transparency and efficiency and results and impact. So we should be the one fighting for reform, not the developed countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your spontaneous remarks. I couldn't agree more, and I believe so many of us here find that this is a very complicated ecosystem, the development world, but fortunately I haven't heard anyone refer to it as a swamp yet. And I think we have a great opportunity to preclude that from happening, thanks to interventions such as yours.